Hi, my name is Bryce Crane. I am a traumatic brain injury survivor, and I've been recovering from a brain injury I had almost 5 years ago. The date was February 21st, 2016. I was a high school junior on the mountain biking team. Um, and what happened was I was with a few family friends. It was just supposed to be a nice Sunday ride, no, not a race, not even practice. We're just, a couple friends getting together, having a good time. What's the worst that can happen? But the worst did in fact happen. Um, Obviously, I'd crashed. I don't remember how or really why. I just did. And no one else really knows why because I was ahead of my group, and by the time they found me, I was in the middle of a pretty violent seizure. And obviously, there was no way for any ambulance to come and pick me up, so I had to be star flighted. I was airlifted into the hospital, and for the first 3 days I was there, I was completely unconscious. Yes, they put me in a medically induced coma, which I can't imagine what my parents were going through during those 3 days. And once I woke up, that was when they realized that I had suffered a stroke as on top of the traumatic brain injury. So the entire left half of my body was completely paralyzed, like left arm, left leg, even the left half of my face. I couldn't walk, couldn't talk, I couldn't function properly. So I don't know. Oh my God, my family and my doctors, they're all thinking that they didn't really know what to do at first. Um, so we're going. I had to go through vigorous types of speech, occupational, and physical therapy during my time in the hospital. I was there for about a little under 3 weeks, and by the time I could get out, I could kind of walk, but not really. So I stayed out of school for a bit because that was just my main priority was I wanted to get back, get right, get well enough so I can go back to school. Because something like this for a high school athlete, it was devastating. It really was, and that whatever pain I felt, I'm sure was just implemented, except like so much more onto my parents. Um, and by the time I got to school, 3 months later, um, I felt like I was like, all right, I'm all back, guys. I can walk, I can talk, I can do just about everything I thought I could before, but really I couldn't. I mean, yes, I could walk around, and to any other regular person, I looked normal, but as soon as I started classes, that's when I realized I was still dealing with a lot of mental disabilities as a result from the brain injury. I'd suffered memory loss was definitely a big one. Um, Memory loss, as well as it became a lot harder for me to read. I would say I was basically dyslexic for a good time, and so something like just reading a book and remembering what I read became one of the biggest struggles for me I never even thought I'd have to face. So getting back to school was it was hard. It really was. I didn't realize it would be that hard. And so from all the things I was going through, anxiety and depression was one of the worst things I had to deal with. Um, there'd be times where I'd just be in my bed, but not able to move. My mom would come in and I'd be like, "Mom, I don't feel good. I can't go to school today. I can't even get out of bed." And in a sense, I was basically in the same position as I was in the hospital. I mean, yes, I can walk, but I was just stuck in my bed, laying in the fetal position. So, and my family and myself included, we were scared. We really were, because what the hardest thing was that I couldn't really explain why I'd be going through this. I mean, yes, I had a brain injury, but when I'd have all these emotional and emotional waves come in, depression, anxiety. I couldn't explain it because I myself, I didn't even really know why I was going through this. And when I eventually came in contact with Rhonda Johnson, with Team Luke Hope for Minds, everything just changed for the better. They helped with paying things for like therapy, occupational speech, physical, all of that. That helped tremendously. Um, as well as just the emotional support I received from them was exactly what I needed, just so I can relate to other people going what I'm going through, so I don't have to feel so alone. And that was such a burden that relieved from my shoulders, as well as my parents. I can't imagine how scared they were, especially my mother. Um, so, with the help of Team Luke Hope for Minds, I was able to recover. Essentially, I was able to pass my classes. They helped with, giving me school accommodations. Even I was able to graduate on time, and I can further use those accommodations I used in high school into my college classes, which I'm pursuing a college degree. Um, It's been almost 5 years later, and I can honestly say I'm not in the same position I was almost way back then. Uh, Other things that helped me during my time of recovery was counseling, especially with my anxiety. I mean, I know a lot of guys my age, they don't want to get counseling. They think they don't need it. I mean, I understand that, but it does help having that emotional connection with someone, even if you're just talking to them, it does help. Whatever, when you're dealing with depression, anxiety, they know how to deal with things and know how to deal with people who are going through that. And so, 5 years later, and I do still ride. I probably shouldn't, but I do anyway. And really, I can still do all the things that I want to live my life. It's not that this brain injury isn't something that I'm going to let hold me back on anything. I understand that there are people who um, do have severe limitations from it, and myself included. I'm not 100% recovered. I do still deal with things like memory loss. Sometimes it is a little hard for me to read sometimes, but I have made it this far, and I'm confident I can continue to fight. And I'm really honored to have been a part of Team Luke Hope for Minds for this many years. And that's all I have for you.